Hello, everyone. Welcome to 30 Minutes in Dash. As always, every second Wednesday. It's the second show for this year. I'm very excited to have you. And I'm even more excited to have one of the dedicated NFT experts with us. His name is Tomas Domingo. He is from CURATE. He's running the show there, basically. So I'm super excited to have you and to talk about what's this NFT buzz all about. Hey, Tomas, how are you doing? Not sure he is with us. There he is. Hello. You have a nice background like me, I see. Looking sharp. How are
Yeah,
you, man?
had to do it for your show, man. And thank you for the invite. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm excited for this.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what are you doing? What is Curate doing? Why you guys
Yeah,
rock?
absolutely, absolutely. So at Curate, we're the first NFT marketplace on the Apple Store where you can buy and sell NFTs. We're very focused on user experience first, and we got great features like no gas fees. Being cross chain, we're currently on Ethereum, X chain or blockchain, and Solana. And if you guys look at our websites online, you can see that we have a full roadmap for integrations. We're talking Binance, Polkadot, Algorand, AVEX, Polygon, you name it.
Amazing. Lots of things to unwrap, and actually a lot of things I want to discuss with you about. You kind of mentioned them already. Number one, user experience. Number two, fees. Number three, you mentioned I can't even follow up all these blockchain names. It's getting crazy out there. And lastly, first of all, I kind of want to learn more about you. Kind of what's your background and like how do you end up in NFTs and what does your mom say about it?
Well, they're still trying to figure out the whole thing with NFTs and how, JPEGs can be worth millions, but that's a part of the process, it's a part of the journey, and we all understand it, and I feel like everybody can relate to that. Just to give you some background on me, you know, my whole life I've been into basketball and a basketball player, and yeah, I started studying economics, started getting into stocks and politics, and how a lot of it is all manipulated in a way, and um, we and how we need Bitcoin. So I remember speaking to a colleague of mine in class, and I'm telling him, because back in the day I used to have the gold bug. So I used to be all about gold, and I was telling you, you got to quit Bitcoin, man, and that's the pyramid scheme, and you should buy some gold. And back then, gold was well close to what is valued at right now. Um, so yeah, this guy, I thank him all the time for introducing me to Bitcoin. He told me, hey, just read the Bitcoin white paper and you'll understand. And it was so eye opening for me. Realizing that we don't need central governance. When we can have a system that we can all trust and be a part of.
Yeah, it's a great intro, maybe, and that's actually a cool start for all our users to take you all on board with us. I think many people really asking themselves these questions like, why is a picture of a monkey worth hundred thousands of dollars? And it's a it's a complicated answer, I have to say, and I have also to say, for me personally, mostly it's not. That's the answer, right? I I gotta say, I got a very good intro to all this NFT craze by looking at a YouTube video that was explaining, I think it was Vendover Productions, like one of these educational videos that was completely non-blockchain and actually explaining why the whole art market is a completely corrupted and corrupt market and why it's like completely manipulated for the last decades. And it's
Mhm.
actually very simple, right? I mean, the art market compared to gold, obviously to all options, stock markets, it is tiny. And we're talking like a couple of $billion essentially for the whole global art market that is essentially run by just a few very famous artists. So it's a very small market. that means it's like it's much more likely to manipulate a small market compared to the whole gold market, silver market, just from the amount of cash you need in the background. Secondly, it's run by not only a few artists, but even worse, a few gallerists that run these artists and that are selling this art to a very limited number of people, right? So it's like a few artists, a few gallerists, and a few collectors that are, kind of pushing up the prices. That means, it's like if one collector is selling it or one gallerist is selling an artist or a piece of an artist from one to another, they can kind of essentially artificially, drive the prices up. And this is kind of the obvious reason why, it's so limited. So now you see kind of an explosion of artists coming into this market. Number one, with NFTs. Everybody can create NFTs. And last but not least, we are seeing millions of people coming in this market, right? So coming from kind of a completely manipulated art market to this, what we see in NFT is actually not so crazy if you kind of approach it from this way. So at least that's how I explain it. And in that sense, yes, a picture of a monkey for a couple of $100,000 is expensive, but it's not so crazy, no? What do you think about kind of this thesis, or where does the value come for you in the whole picture?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point of view. I honestly haven't heard before. Yeah, when people ask me that, trying to explain, I always go back to the conventional art world. How do you justify the Mona Lisa being so valuable? Why we have so much cultural value, which is subjective, into some paintings and other we don't, right? So I think it's a mixture of intrinsic value because they did something different. It's a mixture of the community that's behind it, and then like just like this cultural appeal to it. Some of it is irrational, some of it is not. Um, but only time will prove if it's stupid or not. I think it's not. I think it's a step forward to like you said, it was a very uh, concentrated market for controlled by a few who control the supply and controlled by a few who control the demand, right? And this opens up the platform to anybody could have gotten into the Bored Apes and could have minted those first 10K Bored Apes. Right now they're very inaccessible, but everybody could have joined. So and there's a lot of people that have joined the movement without even owning one, right? So there's also that community sense that's bigger than the collection. So it's very interesting to see, and I think only time will tell, and shake out the what's stupid in a way, like the more skeptic people call it.
Yeah, great point. And also one thing I want to mention, like all this discussion around NFTs is very much about JPEGs for a high price. So basically, it's about art, right? What I've come to realize is, for me, it's a nice use case, but frankly, it's probably rather a small use case compared to the other things that NFTs enable, right? And what does that mean? We are now coming to an age of digital originals, where from an age of the digital copy. And what does that mean, right? We kind of have so many things that we interact with in digital worlds. I think gaming is a perfect example, right? If I am playing a game, I'm using a game character, I'm driving around the car or flying a spaceship kind of in a game, right? And it was always part of the game. It was never a digital item with a price that I can sell on a secondary market. So now we're suddenly seeing this happening. The same goes, if you will, for kind of music and for the film industry, right? I mean, you kind of have, we came from a world of Napster, and it was kind of common sense to download music, and how many hours I spent going through these lists, right, and like kind of pressing the download button, to a world where suddenly the music industry was able to figure it out, right? I mean, now I have Spotify, I can stream all kinds of artists. So I'm asking myself, why is that not the case for the movie industry? And what the hell are you guys doing to not figure out your rights distributions, right? Because I mean, what do I care as a customer? I want to stream all the movies, right? I want to see a Marvel movie. I cannot do that on Netflix because you guys don't have the rights. Sorry. It's it's actually no. It shouldn't be my problem that this is the case, right? And I shouldn't be the one who is making like 20 subscriptions to see a Marvel movie and a DC movie and all those other things. So just for kind of for perspective for our viewers, it's much more about the art market. From your perspective, what is kind of is there anything to add? Kind of what do you see are other drivers for all this NFT craze?
I think you nailed it in the head. I think the arts right now is the low hanging fruit of what we can do with the NFTs. I mean, with Web 3.0, I was just thinking when you were talking about music is, it solves one of the core issues of Web 2.0 where, I have a file, I can send it to you, your file, but there's no property on that transaction asserted, and you can copy that file, thousands and millions of times, and there's never any value asserted. So once you put that property onto the blockchain, there's so much stuff that we can do. Music is one, that I believe it's going to be a major thing. We can talk about gaming, metaverses, all this property. There's already people talking in the physical world. Okay, let's pair, high value items like, for example, a Rolex or a pair of expensive Air Jordans, and make that an NFT to where it's not only certified in the blockchain and transactable in the blockchain, but also in the real world. There's so much stuff that we can do. Real estate. Uh, there's a lot. Twitter handles. Who doesn't? There's always that. Social flex, and identity. There's so much content out there. And we're missing the property of the content, and NFTs can solve that.
Yeah, very good point. Plus, obviously, they're adding secondary markets, right? What kind of excites me right now is, or what I'm kind of really circling around, because we're kind of building this metaverse called Space as well, and I'm trying to figure out with Dash different angles, what we can do. So, kind of what I realize is that that you can do so many things with NFTs. And actually, the interesting part comes into light for me when you think about concepts like what is real world items and what is the digital item. So let's take the example of the Rolex, right? I mean, I can buy a Rolex, but wouldn't it be actually much more worth and much cooler in a way, if I buy a real Rolex and I buy at the same time the right for my real Rolex in the digital world, and then kind of I have two items and I have two items with different values, and I can kind of do completely different things that I do with my real world Rolex than I do with my digital Rolex, right?
Mhm.
The real world Rolex I can put on my wrist. I can sell it on eBay if I want. The digital one actually opens me a lot more things. I kind of can put it on my avatar that I use in the metaverse, but also I can probably sell it on another kind of, NFT market. And if I take it really further, at one point I will use my Rolex and put it as a collateral for, the real world house that I'm going to buy and take out a loan on my digital Rolex. And then kind of the question becomes, like, is actually my real world Rolex on eBay worth more than on a digital market or not? And I can see many reasons why actually the digital Rolex will be worth more than the real world, I have to say,
Mm.
right? And it's kind of on the business people to come up with concepts and ideas to
Yeah,
to
no,
do
for sure.
something.
There's, I think it even adds more value. If the NFT is paired to the physical item, once both are created, so since the beginning of their Rolex, it's almost like a VIN number for cars. Where the whole history and the track record of the car. So it adds more value to the physical. More utility as well because it's more trustworthy because since the origin who were the owners, who were the interactors with the asset, what do you use it for, and yeah, it's lovely to just imagine and kind of take a step back and just let the market evolve to what it's going to be.
Perfect. Let's imagine more right after the break in 1 minute.
CNETv, the first and leading 24/7 live broadcasting blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech TV application. On our mobile app, you have access to our latest news updates ranging from esports, fintech, iGaming, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. We bring to you interviews, analyses, cryptocurrencies, market reviews, and live events. Download our app today from your iOS or Google Play Store or on our website at cnetv.io. CNETv, objectivity is our watchword.
I think you might be muted, Felix.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Perfect. So I'm getting always really excited, like talking about these topics, and you come from one thing to another. Let's kind of come back to Curate and what you said at the beginning. What I would like to understand better. I mean, now it's kind of from the user experience. Honestly, it's difficult to it's A, difficult and stressy to mint an NFT, and B, it's like friggin' expensive. Can you kind of maybe to start with, can you walk us through how does it work step by step to mint an NFT?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the way, and we just redid the whole UI on a new update on the mobile app. Our really our focus mission is if my grandma can post a picture on Facebook, she will know how to post it on and mint it an NFT on Curate. We call it two-step minting. It's very easy. You pick the content, videos or images, and then you go on title, description, and the minting is free if it's on the exchange, and the minting is 50% off with our proprietary tech on Ethereum. So it removes all barriers. There's no smart contract deployments to where or any high gas fees to mint. So it's very easy, and that's our mission. It's bridging the crypto to mainstream.
Okay, so what you're saying basically is download the Curate app, have a JPEG file ready, press 3 buttons, and go ahead.
Yeah, and put a little title, set the price and royalties, and you're done.
Okay, fair. That sounds pretty good. And I invite all of you guys to try it out. It seems a cool solution. And then the NFT will be minted on what? On Ethereum or Solana? What is your blockchain first approach?
Mm-hmm. So right now, the minting is free on Exchange, which is our own blockchain of the platform, and then with Ethereum, we have a proprietary minting app that allows users to mint 50% off. So we pull a quote of what's the market price for the gas fee to mint at that time, and we give you the quote of half of it because we have a super cheap minting technology. So users can pick between minting for free or on Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum holds more value, and you can distinguish Ethereum NFTs from Curate NFTs on the platform, and also Solana because we added them. But yeah, it's super easy. The UX, I believe, is the best in the market. We build it. We called it the two-step minting. There's so much more as well, because once the user signs up, he doesn't have to worry about what's the MetaMask, what's Ethereum, wait, I gotta pay gas fees, what's this, right? So, and these vary through time. All these barriers are removed, and they're all set up for the user. They can also onboard tokens like USDC using their Visa or MasterCard. So it's totally a non-barrier experience for the users.
Mm-hmm. Okay, amazing. So, and before somebody comes around the corner and says, "Hey, but you guys are so centralized," the reality is you are. But if I pay the price and if I'm willing to pay the fee, I get it into whatever wallet I have, right? This is the way I understand your approach.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we we didn't solve the whole Ethereum network. We created a solution
Really?
with a trade-off. So yeah, it's all about giving people the options, right? So if they want to interact and be on a gas-free environment, be on our platform. If you want to exit, mints and export the NFT to your MetaMask or another Ethereum wallet, for example, or for Solana, the Phantom, they can do it. They can, and of course, once you leave the ecosystem, you got to pay a small fee. But that's a part of everything. If they were an open sea, they would probably lose in this whole process. They'll probably lose triple the amount of money while doing that.
Yeah, I got it. And I got to say, I mean, where do you stand on Solana? Where do you see the blockchain or NFT is developing in 2022? What blockchains kind of will we see rising? I mean, it looks for me like Ethereum is obviously not going away. Ethereum is king and will stay king. Polygon is catching up more and more, just switching over just because it's so simple from kind of an EVM perspective to to go to a second layer like Polygon. But then we're Solana, and it's so far pretty cool from a user side of things, and using a Phantom wallet. It's just beautiful to have your NFT collection right there. And I mean, frankly, from a user perspective, it actually looks nicer to anything I've seen so far on Ethereum. What do you think?
No, yeah, I went to the Solana conference in Lisbon where I live, so it was a given. Yeah, I love the Solana community. Of course, Ethereum, as we all know, is the biggest one, but the Solana community is so strong. Always present and active. And they're building quite fast too. You see protocols like Metaplex. They just raised $46 million on an investor round, and I've known those guys since they were being incubated on Solana Labs. They guys like them, they're doing an amazing work in the ecosystem, and they have that X factor as a community. And then of course the Solana ecosystem is doing a great job and giving the tools as well to the community. I see other layers, ecosystems like AVAX out there, picking up steam. Cardano with the NFTs, it's also there. But yeah, Polygon, like you said, they're growing quite fast. Of course, the token has been going up, quite steadily, and they integrated with OpenSea as well on as an option to avoid the gas fee. So I think they're doing a great job as well, as a layer 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, obviously, the show is called 30 Minutes in Dash, so it's funny that we talk about NFTs because so far, Dash is has only little implications into the scene. I mean, from my perspective, I'm very excited. We're going to bring out something called Dash Platform very, very soon. It basically has smart contract capability. We're going to have decentralized APIs. We're going to have kind of a decentralized storage that is running on the masternode network. It's in fact actually a very kind of old idea, that we're trying to pull off since 2017, and then tech happens, and we are in 2022. So I'm super excited that it's finally going to happen. And I see this is actually, I mean, exactly these points I just mentioned are kind of what is still very much missing in that market. It's kind of one thing is the blockchain, and one thing is to have the metadata basically written in the blockchain. But I mean, as blockchains work, you don't store stuff on the blockchain. You wouldn't even store the real picture on the blockchain, right? So in terms of really having an end-to-end solution, that would require not only having the blockchain that can store metadata, but it would also require something where, decentralized server space. So really computers and hardware standing somewhere in the cloud in a scattered, decentralized environment all around the world. And I guess this is exactly what for me is kind of the technical challenge now, and where I'm super excited to see what's going to happen in 2022. Do you have any insights on that, or did you guys actually think about how to run not only the metadata in the blockchain, but all the other things around, such as the decentralized storage or integrating with other APIs.
I mean, yeah, it's a tough one, and because there's you got security, you want it to be fast, and you want it to be non-expensive, right? And you see these ecosystems struggling to finding that right balance. Even with Solana, of course they got a great community and doing great things, but it's there's the trade-off that they pick that I see also people complaining on the other side that sometimes data is missing, it's inconsistent sometimes with speed. But we're going to find the solution sooner rather than later, I think. And one thing that's great about um, blockchains, they can be forked and they can be improved because they're software. And you see that with Ethereum 2.0. Of course, we've been waiting for a long time for Ethereum 2.0, and let's see how it really materializes into and with the high congestion that he has, and it's still a low congestion. Once we look at how much we can grow and how much crypto can grow, all these servers, AWS, Google services, everything, the amount of data that is being transacted already on YouTube all the time, Netflix, all these centralized servers, how can we go to the decentralized point and be completely mainstream? That's something I'm not too technical, so I hope our friends on the ecosystem labs can find the right solution, and I think we're going to get there. There's the right funding, there's the right intention and motivation, so I think we're capable of achieving that.
Yeah, great point. I think for me, what I mean, everything absolutely agree with what you said. I guess trade-off is the key word here, right? There is no one fits all solution because stuff is very complex. Maybe as a last topic for today, what my thoughts really circling around, like, where is all this stuff going in 2022? And what I foresee is that NFTs will very much follow what we have seen in DeFi. It started small. It started with in this case, I buy an art picture. Now we are already at the stage where I'm buying an NFT to use it in a game. So if I invest time and effort, I can essentially yield on my NFT. So I think this is just the first step. So what I foresee is kind of that we put these NFT into more and more complex, automated financial machines, if you will. I mentioned the example before that you can put the NFT to get a loan on your house. But I would say, there's like all this kind of ownership that creates value kind of games. So there will be more, I use an NFT to produce interest rate on my NFT that I can use for something else, and that in an automated way. So I would foresee something like yield maximizers for NFTs, like metaverses coming out with concepts on how you can have yield on an NFT and how you can have utility on an NFT. I foresee a lot of kind of staking specific NFTs on websites options. Like, what is your guess for 2022? What we haven't seen and what will we see?
Yeah, man, I wish I had a crystal ball. There's so much that NFTs can be, like we discussed in the beginning of the show. I'm really bullish on fractional ownership and how you can divide this. How you can make an NFT a non-fungible token, a fungible asset. But I can guarantee you almost. Hopefully, if this doesn't happen, you guys don't quote me on this, but I can almost guarantee you, and you're already seeing with, for example, Adidas and the Bored Apes. I think big brands, they are understanding, and they have very smart people on their corporate, staff that they can't miss out. So there's going to be a lot of FOMO on this, and they have to move and be reactive and start acquiring these brands, start acquiring, almost working with these DAOs and communities, and really embracing the NFT space. Because if they don't, they're going to be just like the guys that we're the search engine before Google, right? So they need to be proactive, and before they become reactive. And I think, for example, we touched on music. Spotify. They have to start empowering artists before they start leaving them for better options. Before they quit on the middleman, right? You see the same with tickets, NFT tickets. There's so much more that can be done with NFTs, and even metaverses. I mean, there's got to be, as a company, they have to move on to the metaverses. They can access and really interact with customers on a virtual way now, instead of having a billboard. They can do a bunch of advertising on the metaverse. There's so much that could be done, but I think what I can put my money on is that brands are going to start being reactive, because they're going to be having fear of missing out, FOMO.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I share that 100%, and there will be a good, I mean, probably a good worth for your money for NFTs of 2021 and 2022, when all this craze started. Adidas and all these brands are starting, so I'm sure we're gonna see more. Thank you, man. Is there anything else that we should have discussed that you would like to add?
Oh man, I can go off for days, and talking about crypto. I think there's so much to discuss. I think I'm happy with what we covered. But it's such a big. There's so much going on, and I'm so happy to be a part of this space.
Yeah, exactly. And I can invite everybody who is not become part of the space, just be there, grow. We all are new to this, and we are all learning. There is no experts with 10 years of experience in the CV, just get started somewhere and get inside. Thomas, where do we find you? Where do we find Curate?
Yeah, so you can find Curate on Twitter at Curate Project. That's our handle. And then on our website is curate.style. If you want to go on your mobile, app store, so the Apple Store or the Play Store, or on the Android, type in Curate NFT. That's the best way you can find us, and play along with it. Personally, my Twitter handle is Tomingos, so TOOMINGOS, and yeah, have a crack on Curate, and I can guarantee you'll like it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. That was a fantastic talk. I'm super excited to be, part of this journey, and, to have you as a partner with us. Let's continue this conversation and come back anytime when we have news. See you guys until in 2 weeks in 30 minutes in Dash. Bye bye. Have a great week.